Switzerland is a federal country. That is, it has cantons, things we would here call states or regions. And the cantons have been busy doing what political authorities all over the capitalist world are busy doing most of the time. And that is trying to get corporations to come to wherever they are. And the way they do that is to lower taxes on them. They get the incentive going. That is, the companies are told, here, come to Switzerland rather than be in Belgium or Italy or Britain or anywhere in the world, because we will tax you less. Yes, Switzerland has a federal tax that covers the whole country, but it also allows the cantons, like our states here in the United States, to have their own level of taxation, and many of the cantons in Switzerland have basically reduced taxes on foreign corporations that come in to virtually nothing, so that these companies only have to pay the federal tax. And here comes the good news. The federal tax in Switzerland, 7.8%. And that, friends, is less than you pay on your income, way less. So corporations have been coming. Guess what? The other governments in Europe aren't pleased by this. Why? Because this is the famous race to the bottom. If the canton in Switzerland pulls away a company in your country by offering lower taxes, you can bet your bottom dollar that there will be politicians in your country who say that the way to cope with this is to make the tax in our country even lower than what they have in Switzerland to keep our companies here, which they do. And that, of course, stimulates the canton in Switzerland to lower it again, and so we have a kind of leapfrogging in which every political authority tries to outdo the other one by bringing corporations in at ever lower taxes. Of course, the corporations love this. This is a bidding war for them, whose end result is lower taxes on business for all multinational corporations as they decide where to locate and where to relocate. The Europeans, under pressure from the mass of their people, don't like this. What do I mean, the mass of people? Well, figure it out with me. If, over time, competition among political authorities, states, whole governments, one against the other, lowers the taxes, then the amount of money coming into the governments, step by step, is being reduced. What do those governments do as their revenue from taxing corporations is driven down? Well, they do one of two things or both. They raise taxes on individuals to make up for what they're not getting from corporations, or they cut public services because they can't afford them anymore since they can't tax corporations. So the mass of people suffer either rising personal taxes or lower government services, or both. And the European, because they have massive trade unions that are not in such terrible decline as here, they have powerful socialist, communist, green, and other left-wing parties, they can make their pressure felt. So the Europeans said to the Swiss, you can't do this anymore, and if you continue, we will begin to discriminate against you, and you don't want that because Switzerland is a small, landlocked country in Europe and depends on its relationships with the rest of Europe to an enormous extent. So what did the Swiss do? Being good capitalists, as they have so long been, they decided, okay, we are going to require that foreign companies coming into Switzerland pay the same taxes as our domestic companies. But to soften the blow, they're going to lower the business taxes on everybody, domestic as well as foreign. So as the foreign have to adjust to the domestic is being brought down, so it's not so difficult for them. That was the plan of the Swiss government. That was the federal decision. But under Swiss law, if 50,000 Swiss citizens sign a petition that they don't like a law, or that they don't want something, it has to go to a referendum where all Swiss people can vote on it. And that's what happened. More than 50,000 signed it real fast, and it was put to a referendum, and that was held last week. Do the Swiss people want to see taxes on all business come down as the way to soften the blow for those multinationals who no longer get away with murder by not paying proper taxes? 59% of the people of Switzerland said, no way is this going to happen, so the plan is dead. And who mobilized for this? The trade unions, the left-wing political parties, the consumer groups, just exactly who you would guess. And they made the argument crystal clear. To lower taxes for all businesses, domestic and foreign, to make life easier for the foreign, means that the Swiss government will have less money than before, and therefore will either tax us as individuals more to make up the money or cut the public services to Swiss citizens, and we, the Swiss citizens, will not accept it. So it's dead. The reason I'm telling you the story is it's the same here. Mr. Trump, for example, proposes to tax corporations that bring goods in from Mexico and China in order to persuade them, to pressure them, to relocate their productions so that they don't have factories in Mexico and China, etc., but bring them back to the United States. And he threatens to tax them if they don't. Well, they yell and scream. So Mr. Trump came up with a solution. He already did this in the campaign, and now he's moving on it as president. He's going to lower taxes on all corporations in America. He's actually proposed to reduce it from the current level, statutory level of 35% to 15%. No small potatoes here. And that would cut the amount of revenue that the United States government gets from corporate taxes by a very large sum. In other words, to coax corporations to bring production back here, which they may or may not do, what is going to happen in any case is a massive reduction of corporate income tax, corporate profits tax. So we're doing exactly what Switzerland has done, with this difference. There is no procedure for people to sign a petition. There is no procedure for the petition to force a referendum where the American people could choose whether they like this or not. We don't have that. The Swiss had it and used it. We don't have it, so we can't use it, and that's what we're going to see unless a massive social movement blocks it. The Swiss are teaching us a lesson. The only question is, will we learn?